Now, the amazing news here is we've got the receipts. We know who's getting these funds, and we know who's writing the checks. And now we know who's next in line for prosecution.
All right, today we are diving deep into a viral video that makes a pretty explosive claim. It basically says the story we've all been told about Antifa is a complete lie, and that there's this massive, well-funded network that's about to be totally dismantled. So yeah, let's get right into it.
So right off the bat, the video throws down a challenge to what most people think. You know the narrative. Antifa is just an idea, it's decentralized, no leaders. Well, this source comes out and says, point blank, they lied. It's setting us up for a story that's, well, a whole lot different.
And to make its case, the video just pummels you with this fast-paced montage. It's clip after clip of media figures, politicians, all saying the exact same thing, almost like they're reading from a script. Antifa is just an idea.
Antifa, this is an entirely imaginary organization. There is not an Antifa.
Like, I don't even know what Antifa is. There is no group.
It's not even like far-right groups like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. Compared to right-wing extremists, Antifa-linked violence is rare and limited.
It isn't an organization. It is in many ways mythology.
It's not like the Proud Boys or the Oath Keepers, sort of defined terrorist organizations with leadership that leads violence.
It's not a highly organized movement. It's a moniker. It's not a unified group like the Proud Boys are.
Things like Antifa are things that are thought up.
It's all in this guise of going after Antifa, which is nothing. There's no organization called Antifa.
Nobody's a member of Antifa because it doesn't exist. They are just declaring into existence something that doesn't exist.
There is no Antifa organization, so maybe that's good for social media, but it really is non-existent.
They exist on the internet in chat rooms and in 4chan and Discord and places like that where they run discussion boards, trade tactics, documents, things like that, but none of them are called Antifa.
The source's argument here is that this wasn't an accident. It was a coordinated campaign to make us all look the other way. Okay, so if everyone was saying it's just an idea, what could possibly change that? Well, according to this source, there was one single move by the government that completely flipped the script.
And this is it. This is the absolute cornerstone of the video's entire argument. The claim is that when the Trump administration officially designated Antifa a domestic terrorist organization, it wasn't just words or politics. No, it was a legal move that changed everything. So what does that designation actually do? Well, according to the source, it means that providing any material support, and that could be anything from writing a check to organizing a bail fund, suddenly becomes a super serious crime. We're talking penalties that can go all the way up to life in prison. And just like that, the focus shifts from the people on the street to the people and the money bankrolling them. All right, so with that legal weapon supposedly in place, the source starts to do what you'd expect. Follow the money. And the first place they claim to look is taxpayer funds. And the number the video drops is, well, it's a bombshell. The claim is that over $1 billion, with a B, of Illinois taxpayer money was siphoned off to politically connected NGOs.
Today we're turning our attention to a staggering amount of taxpayer money, over $1 billion, that's being funneled into political connected non-government organizations or NGOs. This wasn't uncovered by government watchdogs, but concerned Illinoisans and Republican legislators that our grassroots effort we call DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency. The Human Services budget has been hijacked. It used to mean helping seniors, helping single mothers, and people with disabilities. Now it's packed with programs for politically aligned groups offering vague services like parent mentoring, immigrant support, LGBTQ advocacy, and many are race or identity-based initiatives that serve political agendas, not real need. Fourth, this spending undermines real charity. Faith-based groups and private charities are being pushed aside while politically connected NGOs scoop up taxpayer dollars. The government is picking winners and losers and rewarding those who keep the majority party in power.
So your next question is probably how? How does $1 billion of public money just go somewhere else? Well, the source lays out this alleged trail. It starts in the state's human services budget, gets labeled as community support, then it's granted to these friendly NGOs, who then, according to the claim, use it to push their own political agendas. But why go through NGOs? According to the source, it's all about secrecy. See, these organizations aren't subject to Freedom of Information Act requests, or FOIA. That means it creates this perfect financial black box. The money goes in, but you can't officially ask where it went. Zero transparency.
And here's the kicker. The reason why they go through NGOs, the reason why the government sends money to NGOs is because NGOs are not subject to the Freedom of Information Act requests. There's zero transparency. You fund them, but you're not allowed to know what you're funding. You're not allowed to know who you're funding. You're not allowed to know what they're doing with your money. The budget language is deliberately vague, with grants buried under broad terms so lawmakers approve funding without actually knowing who's getting it or how it's being used. Meanwhile, genuine faith-based charities get pushed aside while politically connected NGOs scoop up taxpayer dollars.
Okay, but the video claims it's not just about public funds, not even close. It alleges there's this whole other layer, a huge network of private foundations and big corporations that are also part of this financial web.
So this chart kind of breaks down the alleged private money trail. The claim is you have these huge foundations, like Open Societies and Tides, funneling millions through this one key intermediary, the Alliance for Global Justice, which then passes it to activist groups. But what's really interesting is the claim that even big-name financial firms like Fidelity and Schwab are involved through something called donor-advised funds. Basically, it's a way for people to donate a ton of money while staying completely anonymous.
And just when you think this alleged web can't get any more complicated, the source adds one final and frankly much more serious layer: the claim that foreign adversaries are involved.
And they get specific here. The video points to an ex-Microsoft exec in China who they claim funneled over $100 million to groups in the US while also pushing CCP propaganda. They also claim there are ties to Cuba. To back this up, the source brings in Kaush Patel, a former government official, who confirms what he calls an international dimension involving not just China and Cuba, but Iran and Venezuela too, all with the alleged goal of destabilizing the US from within.
Okay. So after laying out this incredibly complex, multi-layered web of alleged funding, the video makes a hard pivot. It goes from here's the problem to here's how we're going to fix it. And it all comes down to a really powerful legal strategy.
So what's the secret weapon? It's the RICO Act. Now, if you've ever watched a mob movie, you've probably heard of RICO. It was designed to take down organized crime. And what makes it so powerful is that you don't just prosecute the low-level guys. You go after the entire enterprise, the bosses, the financiers, everyone. It basically lets the government treat the whole network as one single criminal organization, seize all its assets, and take the whole thing down.
And this is where the two big pieces of the puzzle supposedly click together. The video's core argument is that when you combine that domestic terrorist designation with these powerful RICO charges, you create a kind of legal superweapon, a tool that gives prosecutors the green light to go after and completely dismantle the entire financial and leadership structure.
This quote from the source really sums up the whole strategy perfectly. The idea is, you don't just arrest the street-level thugs. No, you go after the bosses, the financiers, the enablers. You go to the top.
Multiple investigations have traced the money, and what they're finding is a massive web stretching from state governments to billion-dollar foundations to full-blown foreign enemies.
So, with this whole legal framework supposedly in place, the source gets really confident and starts making some pretty big predictions about what's coming next. And to prove that this isn't just a theory, the video points to recent federal terrorism charges against a couple of individuals down in Texas. The source presents this as Exhibit A, saying it's not just some random case, it's the very first domino to fall. It's the tip of the iceberg. So this is what the source predicts as the ultimate endgame. First, the FBI is on the verge of exposing the whole command structure. But the real prize, they say, isn't the protesters, it's the ultra-wealthy leftists who are allegedly funding the whole thing. The final outcome? The complete, systematic dismantling of the entire network, including those major foundations. And the video ends with this final, triumphant declaration, which really wraps up its entire message. The claim is simple. The days of these groups and their financiers operating without consequences are over. Justice, they say, is finally on its way.
Anyone associated with Antifa is now subject to some of the harshest penalties in the criminal code. Anyone who knowingly provides material support or resources to a foreign terrorist organization faces imprisonment of up to 15 years. And if the material support results in the death of any person, that penalty escalates to life imprisonment.
So the story this source tells is pretty clear. There's a huge hidden network, and it's about to face a massive legal collapse. And that leaves us with a really big question to chew on. What does it mean when the legal tools we designed to fight the mob are turned on political movements? What are the implications for activism, for free speech, for all of us? It's definitely something to think about.